Suspected U.S. airstrikes killed at least 2 people overnight in a stronghold of Yemen's Houthi rebels, the group said Sunday. According to Associated Press, the strikes in Sada killed 2 people and wounded 4 others, with footage aired by the Houthis' Al Masirah satellite news channel showing a strike collapsing what appeared to be a 2-story building. The Iranian-backed Houthis aired no footage from inside the building, which they described as a solar power shop. The intense campaign of airstrikes in Yemen under U.S. President Donald Trump targeting the rebels over their attacks on shipping in Mideast waters stemming from the Israel-Hamas war has killed at least 69 people, according to casualty figures released by the Houthis. However, the Houthis have not acknowledged any casualties from their security and military leadership, something challenged after an online video posted by Trump. The White House has said there have been over 200 strikes so far targeting the Houthis.
Israel stepped up airstrikes on Syria, declaring the attacks a warning to the new Islamist rulers in Damascus, as it accused their ally Turkey of trying to turn the country into a Turkish protectorate. The escalation marks a turning point in Jerusalem's stance toward Ankara as Turkey attempts to expand its military presence in Syria amid regional instability. The Israeli Defense Forces struck strategic assets at both the Hama military airport and the T4 airbase, including runways, fuel, storage sites, radar systems and weapons caches. The strikes follow weeks of intelligence gathering by the Israeli Air Force, which tracked military assets in the targeted bases. Turkey intends to convert the T4 base into a drone facility, the Jerusalem Post reported, citing a Western intelligence source. Ankara is considering the temporary deployment of S-400 air defense systems to T4 or Palmyra to secure the airspace during reconstruction efforts, the Middle East Eye reported, citing a source. However, no final decision has been made and Russia would need to give its approval. Low-resolution satellite images show that previous Israeli airstrikes have created 2 large crater areas in T4's runway, making it virtually impossible for any heavy-lift transport planes to land. The main taxiway is also cut into 3 parts. The facility is located 140 miles south of the Turkey-Syria border, making any overland supply, especially of delicate weaponry like drones and advanced air defense systems, a challenging and dangerous option. Turkey and its local proxies are still fighting the US-backed Kurdish-led Syrian Democratic Forces. So the strikes come amid concerns that Turkey will move aircraft, air defense systems and troops there. Ankara is negotiating a security agreement with the new government in Damascus, sparking concerns about a confrontation between Israel and Turkey. The establishment of a Turkish Air Force base in Palmyra, Syria, could heighten regional tensions and increase the risk of conflict with Israel, a senior IDF official told the War Zone last week. Given Israel's ongoing efforts to prevent hostile military entrenchment in Syria, any significant Turkish military presence, especially in strategic locations like Palmyra, could be perceived as a threat to Israeli security interests. Sinan Sidi, a Turkey expert at the Foundation for Defense of Democracies, told Fox News Digital that Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan is attempting to capitalize on the regional vacuum left by Russia and Iran. Erdogan is trying to reignite Turkey's influence in the region as a sort of neo-Ottoman power. said Sidi. He sees Iran's proxies weakened, Russia overstretched, and is positioning Turkey to dominate the region, particularly through military footholds like the air bases. In this case, the growing friction between Israel and Turkey is taking place as both sides are seeking to satisfy their own territorial ambitions in the wake of the fall of long-term dictator Bashar al-Assad in December.
North Korean leader Kim Jong-un watched his special forces training, Pyongyang state media reported early Saturday. According to Associated Press, the demonstration of soldiers and guns and martial arts came just after the US and South Korea have conducted joint military exercises, which North Korea complained about. In a series of still photos, the North Korean Central News Agency showed Kim watching as heavily camouflaged troops posed with guns and ran across fields to fight inside a building. The images also showed Kim at a firing range with a gun that KCNA called a new sniper rifle. And then at the end, Kim is shown waving to the troops, surrounded by suited security guards. All the images are not independently verified. The location and details were not explained by KCNA. And it is customary for North Korean state media to report news a day or more after it happens.
North Korean artillery installations have been spotted in Crimea. Russia has probably transferred some of the DPRK troops to the annexed peninsula in order to deploy this contingent in Ukraine, writes ZDF. On March the 26th, a video appeared online showing several North Korean heavy artillery units, Koksan. The footage shows that the artillery units are being transported by rail to the northern part of Crimea. These guns played an important role in the Russian offensive in the Kursk region due to their large radius of destruction. According to the publication, Ukraine destroyed 5 Koksan guns with the help of drones, but Pyongyang handed over at least 200 installations to Moscow. Until now, North Korean troops have only been involved in combat operations in the Kursk region. However, the sudden appearance of Koksan howitzers in Crimea may indicate Russia's plans to deploy North Korean forces directly to Ukraine. The documented presence of Koksan artillery systems on Ukrainian territory is a harbinger of a politically significant escalation. That is, the likely rapid combat deployment of North Korean ground forces in Ukraine, the article says. Earlier, South Korean intelligence reported that the DPRK had sent a new batch of soldiers to Russia. According to intelligence, their number is at least 3,000 people. Of the roughly 11,000 North Korean soldiers sent to Russia, 4,000 were wounded, and it appears that an additional 3,000 or more were sent in January and February. the report says. In addition, according to South Korean intelligence, the DPRK continues to supply Russia with missiles, ammunition and artillery equipment, including a significant number of short-range ballistic missiles and about 220 units of 170mm self-propelled howitzers and 240mm rocket launchers. In addition, it is emphasized that the DPRK is seeking to improve relations with China, although Pyongyang's main priority remains further strengthening relations with Moscow. Russia is the focus of North Korea's diplomacy, with the regime seeking a full range of exchanges to maximize its troop deployments, South Korea said. At the same time, Forbes reported that the Ukrainian armed forces were effectively destroying North Korea's miracle technology, Koksan, at the front, but North Korea still had large reserves of troops and equipment, including potentially hundreds of additional M1 989s.